Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Shri. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastite Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanuste Devi Pranamani Hari Priya Vrindai Tulasi Divya Priyaya Keshavasya Vishnu Bhakti Vratadevi Satyavate Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Pasanatubhyevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatharini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Vishgaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're supposed to talk about children.
Krishna Madhava Prabhuji. First of all, Prabhu, Sriram Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, konjam, and you can introduce about Prabhuji, Madhava Prabhu.
Okay, you can do it.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the session after parenting. Now we are hearing from His Grace Madhava Prabhuji, and he is very senior brahmachari serving at Belgaum, ISKCON Belgaum. He is a disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. From last 2 decades, he's been serving ISKCON in different places of India, and very well known for this coach, spiritual coach and mentor. We'll say loudly chant one Hare Krishna mantra, welcoming Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama.
Yes, Mother Prabhuji, please continue.
I'm not any psychologist or anything like that. We just have some common sense knowledge of, because we all went through our own childhood. And it's not that there's anything special that I know. Neither did I do any special courses on that. But it's just that since this is something that we've all been affected with, it's especially growing up, and the present education system that is there does not actually address the natural growth procedure of a human being from its birth to its end of life. Because after a person is born, he goes through a different processes of growth. And then he comes out to his adult life, in which he spends a major part of his life. And then there is the time when he becomes old. So present-day education systems actually do not address the sequence of life. It is non-sequential, means it does not recognize and understand the sequences of life. And it doesn't actually prepare one for the sequence of life that we are going to face too. So what happens is we really don't know. Like, for example, they ask one simple question. It says, you're giving education, what for? What is the purpose of education? So normally they'll say, we're giving education so that he can get a job. But education can't be only for a job. Job is important, but unfortunately, today's education does not even prepare you for jobs. It doesn't prepare you for anything practically. That is why you see after they pass out from schools and colleges, again, you have entrance tests to see whether, that means the school education was not valued. Otherwise, why you have again entrance? And then even after you pass out from these so-called institutions and you pass out graduate, then again, the companies again have to reevaluate you and retrain you for your jobs. So therefore, this education actually is not something that helps us to, it simply makes us information dumps. And it's increasing nowadays with these electronic devices. I remember when was this? Around 98 or 2000, when I was in Mumbai, I had 5 systems in my room, my quarters there. 5 computers, I mean, those big systems you had those days. And I had so much information in them. One is just filled up with library, with books, etc. And I realized after 2 years or 3 years that I hardly have opened any of those. I hardly read it, I've compiled huge amounts of videos or books, etc. And I don't think we even see on any of those. We click so many pictures, I don't know how many we see. So it's just pointless gathering of information and it's simply becoming, instead of using the brain, we think our phone is going to keep the memory. Instead of increasing the our brain capacity of actually remembering and understanding and conveying what we want to do, we are thinking that it's going to be done by the by these gadgets, instead of transferring information or knowledge to one another. What we'll end up doing is just, let me just forward some some message or some video here or there, and I think I'm doing a great job. I'm spreading the message. You aren't, because as Srila Prabhupada said, with half an hour of television you want to show, there's 23 hours of 23, so 20 out of 24 hours, half an hour you may do some so-called media work. Prabhupada says 23 hours, 30 minutes, they're overwhelmed with all kinds of nonsense. So it doesn't make any sense when you do that. So you need to actually have to understand there is an environment has to be created for learning. Okay, let me first talk about what is sequential life. When a child is born up to the age of 5, Lalanat Panchavarshani, up to the age of 5, Chanakya says, one should Lalanat. He should be pampered. Means you don't really, try to discipline the child so much there. You try to nurture. Lalanat Panchavarshani. Darshavashani Tadayat. But the next, after they come to 5, from 5 to 15 years, you have to discipline them. Discipline does not mean hit them black and white, and swipe them up, and not that. Discipline means see that they get regulation in their life. So again, coming back to the definition of education, education is to prepare a child for their life when they would actually become adults. So what are the most important things that they have to do while um, while you become adult? What is the biggest challenge for you when you after you become an adult or in present day life? Mahamantra Prabhu. What is the biggest challenge you think you should have learned before? Relationships. Yeah, how to have proper relationships. Yes, okay. Vamshali Prabhu.
Handling money, finance, accounts.
Handling finances, money. Yeah.
Sense control.
Sense control. Prabhuji, what do you think is the biggest challenge for you when you grew up?
Economical wants.
Okay. So how to balance with everyone else? Okay. How to understand people. Okay.
Sense control.
Sense control. Responsibilities. Okay. Tell me which of your courses taught you this? Did any of your courses that you spent, how many years did you spend in schools and colleges learning? 17, 18 years? Yeah. So in this 20 years that we have spent, which course actually taught you any of these? Okay. For me, for people, I mean, as we grow older, another very important factor that is so important that we lose out, health. How to take care of health. Srila Prabhupada says, regulated habits and simple food. Any man can maintain his health. So these are things that you actually teach from. These are things that you are preparing the child for his future. If you've not prepared your child for your future, then you've actually made him, you're actually his or her enemy. Mata shatrur pita vair yabhyam balana patita. Sabha madhye na sobhante hamsa madhye bako yatha. If the son or the daughter is not trained up with these qualities, then tomorrow when they actually go and become a part of the larger group, they don't know what to do. They are hamsa madhya bako yatha. In a group of learned people, they simply remain there like a buck. Bucko will just stand there and, make, what do you call it? Can't distinguish which is the right, which is the wrong. So, first and foremost, if we want to understand what are the things that you need, that you think is important for them in their life in future, make a list of them. Basic. I'm not trying to be, you can keep adding to that list always, but start with a basic list. Health, okay. Sense control, how to handle finances, relationships, language. I can go on. It's a big list, but I won't make that list for you.
Setting of goals.
So these are basically what you need to. And then you think, how am I going to impart it to my child? See, we are too busy with this whole damn stupid world and trying to get stuff onto the media, take pictures and say. But we forget that we have a kid here who needs our life, our care. And I'll tell you, till the age of 15, 14, 15, 16, nowadays it's gone down a little bit, 13, 14, it is coming down to. After 13, 14 years, your kid won't look at you. He won't, he will, there's a different age. When the body matures, when they become an adult, they do not look towards the family anymore for, information, knowledge, recognition. They go out to the world. So when the time is there, you will not spend time with the child. Instead, you go out and do so many things. And at the age of 15, your kid is rebelling against you. Then you're wondering what happened. Why is he rebelling against me? Because after the age of 14, 15, a child, a boy or a girl, after they hit puberty, their life changes. You see, they will no longer, it is their age of socialization takes place. You see, prior to 15, the children are busy and happy with relating to the family and the family members. If they go out and win an award, they're very happy to bring it back home and show it with their parents and share it with them. If they get anything, they'll want to bring it back home and share it with the family members. That is what they're all happy with. And really, that's what their whole life is all about. If they get a good, they do something well in life, what will they do? They come back and bring it back to the family, and they're happy seeing their father and mother happy and the family members happy. That is basic. After 15, they look for friendship, recognition outside the family. So that is called the age of socialization. That goes on till about 2025. So, and it is natural. That is how, just like you see animals also, after they become old, they have a certain thing because of which they leave the herd, they leave the group, the immediate group, and go out, because otherwise there's going to be inbreeding. So to avoid inbreeding, there are certain circumstances which let them go out and look for their mates or whatever it is. So the same way, humans also are naturally, biologically, programmed to do that. So you have the age up to 15 or so, 15, till the time you have a chance to actually give them and inculcate the good qualities. But if you do not do that, do not think that after 15 you'll be able to do it. You have to create a situation with them before the age of 15. And out of that, the first 5 years goes just like that because they are too small to do anything. Then after 5 to 10 years, they are eager to learn things. In fact, even earlier they learn, 3.5, they learn a lot. In fact, you can see the child, they learn language, even without teaching them any grammar, they know the language. Isn't it? I've seen in Bangalore, because they have so many languages that they use in Bangalore, kids learn up to 5 languages without anyone teaching them. So, how do you learn languages? Because that's the age of learning. They're like sponge. Whatever you give, they get absorbed by them. So when we actually have understanding that whatever we are doing, they are observing. Do not think that they're dumbos just rolling around and sucking some lollipop around. No, their eyes and ears are all open. You're watching. And if you advise them anything and you don't do it, they'll catch you. They won't let you alone. So they are very, they are like that because they're trained at that age to actually absorb. So after the age of 15, what happens that they turn around? They don't listen to you. They have hit puberty. So the opposite sex becomes very important for them. Attraction towards the opposite sex comes, and education at that point takes a backseat, or learning takes a backseat. Prior to that, learning is a major component in their life. And out of the first, after the 15, after the age of 15, that is 5 to 15, the first 5 years, 10 years is the age when they will hear a lot and learn a lot by hearing. Shrota Vyadini, was that verse? in the Shrotavyani Indriyani Anye Indriyagneshu Juvati. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the brahmachari, the fourth chapter, verse number, I have to find it. Shrotavyadini, forget. Okay. Yeah, Shrotavyadini 2:6, right?
4.26, Prabhuji.
Shrotavyadini Anye Samyagneshu Juvati, Shabdadin Vishayan Anye Indriyagneshu Juvati. So they, Shrotavyadini, by hearing, they will actually gain knowledge. So this is what happens to them at that age. So they will hear and do. But after, as they approach 10 and 10 plus years, then what happens to them is that their motor skills develop. They want activity, physical activity. Their muscles, and prior to that, their muscles and the motor organs are still not developed. So that is something that modern education completely is kind of, what do you say, is completely overlooked. That at a particular age, a child is going to develop his motor skills. And when he develops his motor skills, if you develop his motor skills at that time very nicely, he will actually be able to perform physically very high, at a very high level. I'll give you an example how much motor skills he can develop. You give him that you make a hole after every 2 centimeters on this piece of wood. You keep making these holes. Okay, every 2 centimeters you make a hole, and you tell him 2 centimeters, then you tell him every 3 centimeters you make a hole like that. And you do that to him, and you give him a scale to measure it and do that. You will see that after some time, even without putting a scale, he will put a mark. 2 centimeters, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and you'll see it's perfect. I'll give you another example. You see people who weigh rice dal in grocery shops. If he has been working in the grocery shop from his early childhood, you tell him 1 kilo dal dena, आधा kilo chawal dena, he'll take it. He's got his measurement in his hand, in his eyes, everything. You'll see he'll put almost the same amount, hardly a little bit really up and down. Whereas an older person who has got into that measuring thing, he'll put less, more, take it out again, put more. See that he's now understood his measurement from his hand. Okay, this is half a kilo, this is 1 kilo, this is the distance between these. So those motor skills come between the age of after the 10 years of age. Okay, so the problem today is that during that time when he has his motor skills being developed, you're making him sit only in the chair and table and make him scratch some, paper and do things like that. Okay, and computers and whatever. So it actually is not giving him his motor skills. In fact, I'll give you one story of Dr. Cecile, who happened to be 14 or 15 years old. And this is a true story. In a place called Miraj, near Kolhapur. Dr. Cecil, he was a young boy, Cecil was his name. And he happened to, there's a Christian missionary hospital there, famous, it is even there today. So Cecil had come in there, and they, in those days, I'm talking about the 40s or 50s or something like that. When he was there, at that time, they were looking for, what do you call it? Yeah, they always look for some people to help out. And those days, there was no formal courses, nurses and matrons and what do you call it? And, sorry? Yeah, those who help in the, operation, not volunteers, what do you call them? not ward boys, those who help in the operation theater and medical assistants, whatever you call them. They have not surgeons.
Audio technicians.
Kind of people who help out, who give you the scalpel when you want them, and wash up the
Audio
stuff.
technicians.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, technicians. Yes. So they didn't have that. So Cecil came in, and because he was young, bright, they took him into the operation theater, and he was assisting in operations. And it so happened that Cecil was observing. He was 14 years old. He was seeing things, how things were going on, and he was assisting in different ways. Sometimes, in those days, there were very few doctors, and that you needed help at any time. So sometimes he had to help out in doing different things. After some time, it so happened that Cecil became so good in surgery, stitching, etc., that sometimes some emergency cases he would actually do it. It's emergencies. So there was no one else to do it. And after some time, he became so good that people preferred him than the ones who were trained in the medical college. So there was some controversy. People said, how come he's doing all that? So in those days, you get an RPM degree, registered medical RMP degree. So he got some RMP degree, but RMP is not supposed to be a surgeon. So he was doing all these surgeries, and I think the medical council or someone got on his case, and how come he's doing surgery? So they said he should be not allowed to be in Miraj. So I think the DC at that time, the British DC or whoever was there, said you cannot be around Miraj because people know you and people expect you to do surgery and all that so well. So you should be 10 kilometers or 25 kilometers outside of Miraj. You shouldn't do anything. You shouldn't come near here. So he just at the edge of the town, he established his hospital, and he got a few doctors, and he would actually, be with them and do that. He was so famous that he was actually doing all the surgeries. Okay. And this is even the case of, I think, those two famous people, the two black, one in South Africa and the other is in America, who are the ones who developed liver transplant and heart surgeries. These were two, hospital assistants who actually developed those. Do you know that? I forget their names. It's very famous. These are two very famous people. They were black people. They were not even allowed to, probably in those days, even allowed to attend medical college. They are the ones who developed, with the assistance of a doctor whom they were assisting, but they actually did heart surgeries. Open heart surgeries is credited to one of them, and liver transplants. And they both, I think, did it with dogs. Learned how to do it with dogs and things like that. So what I'm saying is the age is so important. The age is so important that age, you give them any skill, they'll pick it up for their life. Another thing is very important is that if you don't work hard between the age of 14 and 20, you'll never work hard in the rest of your life. So this sequential understanding is not there in modern day education. So they have to be sequentially understood when one should be given what. We're simply putting them through this whole system of scratching paper and nowadays punching the the computer or whatever it is. They're not really getting any skills of life. Okay, so this is one thing that I'd like to tell you. Another thing that I'd like to tell you, I'm not saying that we shouldn't educate our children. We should always educate our children. We should keep on educating our children. But the most important thing that you have to understand is that the present the schools and colleges hardly educate. Because, like, for example, some of the most important skills of life, they never teach you. And because why? Because that only can be learned at home. Like, for example, one of the most important things to do at home or in life at all is to deal with people. Like, for example, receiving guests. Okay. To receive guests, where will you learn it? Which school? What subject? Mother can only teach. Suppose you are at home and guests have come and your wife is not there or your mother is not there, will you be able to receive guests? You won't even know how to talk to them, because it's actually the ladies who are the conversationalists of the family. They actually start conversation, they carry on with the conversation. The next thing that they do is receive people. Such an important activity. Imagine your home without friends, family. Where will you learn all of those things? Are there any courses for that? And even if you do have courses, why would you spend your money on those courses? And even if you try to give them courses, will they ever learn? We won't. So coming back to the issue is, life is sequential. And the most important time to learn things is between the age of 5 and 15. One of the most important skills that I think I would have loved to learn in my early days, okay, is how to deal with the opposite sex. That's something that I guess I should learn. But tell me any place that teaches you what to do. So these are basic stuff that you learn only at home. There's another big problem that you have in present day schooling systems is that children of the same age are put into one box. Next year, they take it to another box. And this continues till you pass out your thing. So you are only associated with people of your own age. And there's only one person that you listen to, a teacher. He comes and tells you, there's one teacher figure, and then you have the rest of all your peers. This becomes a big problem when you actually come out of schools and colleges and you're actually trying to live life outside. When you go to an office, you will see this very often happening, that he does not actually see that this man is in the office 20 years senior to me. Okay, this man is 10 years senior to me. This man is 5 years senior to me. Because he only has this idea of living with his own peers and having one teacher figure with him, he never learns how to deal with different people of different seniority and different levels and different ages. He treats all of them the same way. He treats all of them as his peers. And he only accepts one person as a boss. This is a major problem because you don't, in your family, there are your cousins, your elder cousins, your sisters, your mother's relatives, your father's relatives. You deal with each one of them differently. And that is how in society also you have to deal with. In society, you have to deal with different people of different ages and different backgrounds, different qualifications differently. Okay. And there are things to learn from them. A person who's 20 years senior to you, if you treat him as his peer, as your peer, you'll never learn things from him, but there are lots of things to learn from him. Okay. So he actually gets no opportunity to learn anything because he treats them all as peers and he's only afraid of, or he only treats one person as his boss. He doesn't even know how to treat it, how to treat one junior. If a new junior comes in, how to deal with him. He doesn't know how to deal with his seniors. He doesn't know how to deal with people a little more senior to him. And as a result of that, he actually has, what would we say, no soft skills. And because he has no soft skills, he is having problem daily dealing with the people in the office, in his neighborhood. He has to deal with different women of different ages in different ways. He doesn't know how to deal with them. So this is one of the major causes of problem today, that people don't know how to deal with people. Like we're saying, how to deal with people. Why did you not know? Because you never lived with people of different ages, different qualifications, different, backgrounds. At the same time, you only dealt with one box with the same group of people. So this is a major issue that actually is a lacuna or a major problem in schools when you go to schools and colleges. Rather than learning, you actually become deficient in dealing with people. Like in our families, what do you call your an elder cousin? You call him like that, right? Now you have three brothers, eldest brother, middle brother, and you will call them differently, isn't it? Yeah. Similarly with your sisters, isn't it? Your mother's side, you will call your uncles and aunties differently. Your father's side, you call them differently. Why? Because you learn different things from your mother's side and you learn different things from your father's side. Do you learn the same things? No, you learn different things from different sides. You deal with them differently. So all that is a part of the system because everyone has to be dealt differently. So that is why the system is actually very deficient in providing education. They didn't really educate you for what you will actually come, what those activities that will naturally come to you. They do not prepare you for those activities that will naturally come to you. First and foremost, something that naturally will come to every man and a woman. Every man has to become a father or a husband. He has to deal with, he has to become all those. He's a brother, he's something. It doesn't prepare you for that role. Similarly, it doesn't prepare the women to become mothers, wives. It doesn't prepare. Tell me one course that teaches you to do that. And where can you learn that from? To learn it at home. But what we have done, home is actually the place where children love to learn from. They're always busy imitating their fathers and their mothers. You'll see always they're imitating their fathers and their mothers. The girl will like to dress up like the mother dresses. If the mother uses lipstick, she'd also want to put some lipstick. She put something like, we used to do, I don't know whether you all did it. See my father shaving every day. So sometimes also we also put some shaving cream and and then we wait when will our mustache come out or whatever it is. We're busy imitating. Children are busy imitating their parents. Why? Because they're eager to learn from them. They're wanting to learn from them. But what do? We don't teach them anything. We just give them clothes, dress them up, give them a tiffin. Nowadays, that is also not required, and send them to school. When they come back home, we feed them or give them clothes. And so actually the real parent, the teachers of children are parents. Biologically and by according to karma, you have become father and mother because there is some relationship with you and those by karma. They come to become a part of your life. See, tell me one person that you can pay or by some way, what are the means by which you can, but when someone will actually trust you, without any doubt will trust you. You want someone to trust you. Okay. Is there any means that you can do that? And even if you do, it's going to, family members only because first. Mother and father, you have implicit faith in your mother. Whatever she says is truth for you. Oh, even till you're old, now also when you have trouble, whom do you go to? You see, there is an age of socialization. In that age of socialization, a boy will turn against his father. disagree. The boy will disagree with his father, and the girl will disagree with his mother, with her mother. See, at the age of 15 plus, the girl will fight with her mothers about which dress to wear, how to make her hairstyle. You must have all fought. They will also fight. And the boys at the age of 17, 18 will fight with their fathers. Or what to do in life, what course to take, he will fight. But he will listen to his mother. You see, he's confident in that house at that period when he's having a trouble with his father. Okay. His confident in the house will be mother. And the girl, she's having trouble with the father, mother. Her confident is father. You know, she's prefer to sit down and talk to him and have a relationship with him and talk, heart to heart talk with the father rather than mother. So that is natural for them. See, because by nature, naranang matulakrama, psychologically, you are actually the boy is like the mother, and the girl is like the. So this is naturally there. You have to understand this is simply natural. Doesn't require any, massive. It's a simple thing. Okay, so after the age of 17, 18, he will actually lean more towards his mother. Okay. So what we are trying to say is that these basic things we should understand and understand how to actually apply that in our lives. Sons learn morality from their mother. Children learn morality from their mother, moral codes from their mother, and discipline from their father. Okay. They will learn how to celebrate festivals from their mother, religion from their father. Okay. So these are basic things that are ingrained genetically or whatever you call them by Krishna's arrangement. It is already ingrained in. But what we are doing is that we're not getting into that. We're not understanding our role, natural role that is there. Morality, no matter how much you teach them, put them into schools and colleges and ram it up with them, it's not going to go into them. Morality will come into the child by the activities of the family. And if the family is deficient in any form, that cannot be made up by any institution in the world. You send them to Harvard, you send them to Cambridge, those factors can never be made up by those schools and colleges. So what is deficient in the family can never be made up by any forms of schooling. So coming back to the point is that the home is the most important place of learning. But today we are thinking that schools and colleges are most important places to learn. I'll give you another example. When we grew up, when I was small, I'm talking of the 70s and the 80s. Okay. Most important distraction at our time, when we were growing up, was afternoon and evening times when we were supposed to sit down and study and do our whatever work is to be done, study time. That was the time what is most. Why? Because that is the time when we get guests. Visitors come in the evening. I don't think you all have experienced that. Okay. In our days, evenings was the time when you have guests coming in. So here are guests coming in with their children or whatever it is, and I'm here trying to, I've been forced to get into a room and study. I can't. Then came the time after 1983 and things like that, where television came in. You are supposed to sit down and study while the whole family is watching. Please try to understand, you cannot have your kids studying if you are trying to do all that. You have to have an environment to study. At that time, the whole family should say, this is our time to study. We will all study together. sit down together, create an environment for study, you'll see the kids will also study. But you are trying to do something else, and then you tell the kid, hey, you shut up, your exams are time, you go and study. He's never going to study. This is something that you inculcate in the family right from childhood. If you want studies to take place, then you have to inculcate, create an environment for that. Close down everything else. Let's sit down and study. I'm talking about in those days, we have evenings. Nowadays, I think guests don't come. Practically, guests don't come to nowadays because televisions have come. Or now, I think televisions have gone also now, whatever else is coming. So in those days, evenings are the times when guests come, or you go out to visit someone else. So if you want study time, you have to create a time in which this is a period when we all sit down and study. Then you won't have to, get behind your kid and tell him, study, study, study. I think we've all been nagged by our parents to study, right? But did we ever study like that? No. But that's what I'm saying. You create an environment to sit down with the books. You don't need to create a tuition. You don't need to do all that. Actually, the home is the most important place to learn. But what we have made the home is something completely useless place. God has made naturally the home as a place for children to learn. But what we have done with the home is made it the storehouse, a place to eat and sleep, not a place of learning. But if you create the home as a place of learning, kids will learn. I'll give one example. One of our devotee families, they're very poor. Huh? They work very hard. They make saris. They have their power looms and they work very hard to somehow get the employment. They've got 4 daughters in the house. But somehow they have got into this mood of learning. And they got into this mood of learning Sanskrit. They have hardly 2 rooms in which 3 generations of people live. 3 generations live in just 2 rooms. So they cook there, they eat there, they sleep there. But they put one blackboard, a small board there. Every day they put one, every week they put one word of Sanskrit there. And they try to use it in their day-to-day usage. Food, something like that. Those 4 daughters can speak Sanskrit without learning it in school. Okay. And even the illiterate grandmother, because they are all doing that, that kid she's also picking up Sanskrit sentences and things like that. So it is, if you create an environment in the home of learning, education, or some form of thing, then you will see that it is very easy for that family to learn. But if you don't have that, it will be very difficult for maybe 1 or 2 kids someone may be able to do it, but mostly it is very difficult to learn. So create an environment of learning. And understand that after the age of 10, their motor skills will come. So basically, by the time they're born, by astrology and whatever symptoms there are, you have to keep observing the child. And you do that right through his period of thing. And the most important time when he learns languages is between 3 and 7 or 8 to 10. He can learn practically any language like this. So language skills are at an early age. Okay. Now, coming back to this issue, you have to keep observing the child again and again and try to see which are the areas where his skills are. It is not that, okay, there's some give and take, some astrology is there, some this sign is, no. They are only clues for you, clues to help you. Just like if you want to solve a problem, you get a few clues. Okay. So similarly, also the child there are certain clues given in astrology and some other systems, but that's not enough. Observation and experimentation is a very important thing to see what skill your child has and accordingly work with him or her. then their skills. Continuously keep working on it. And then you'll see which skills actually he or she has, so that you can work out the skills. So that skill levels will start manifesting around the age of 10. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada told us that Gurukul ends at the age of 10. He says maximum 12. But after that, you have to train them in their varnas. Because their motor skills will start developing and the theory will also come. And you only have up to the age of 15. Now, if you don't do this at this period, what happens is he becomes a Varna Shankara. He may have certain skills, he may have certain tendencies, but no skills. Or skills without a tendency. So Prabhupada says, who is a Varna Shankara? Whom you cannot define a Varna to. So Varna Shankara comes not because of only, because there is no system of sanskara. That means how does you purify the person to? You get gold from somewhere, but you need to purify it into, make it into what it has to happen. So that sanskara is that period in which you work on that person. Purify him. Channelize him. Purify means channelize him. Okay. Chanakya says you test gold in different ways, 4 ways, by rubbing it, by putting acid on it, by hitting it, different things, by heating it. Similarly, also you test a person by shilata, by his character, by his patience, by his understanding, by his skills. So similarly, you also have to test the child. Okay. So you have to test which are the qualities that he's manifesting, which is it. He may be slow. That's okay. That's not a problem. But you got to know in which direction. So you have to be observant all the time. And when will you be observant? Not coming after office and sitting with your office work or doing something else, and then just looking at your kid what he does. No, you have to actually work with him. When you do activities with him, shoulder to shoulder, okay, you develop friendship with him. When you develop friendship, when is the best time that you have made friends? If you worked on any, an assignment or any work, you work shoulder to shoulder with the other person, trying to solve a problem or something like that, you develop friendship. You develop closeness, you develop binding. Okay, bonding comes at that. Okay, so bonding comes when you actually do those kind of things. So here also, as a father or a mother, you got to do things together. A child is actually eager for doing activities, but we don't have that. We're not interested in that anymore. I'll give you one example. There's one devotee I know. He's got his son from an early age, practically from the age of 2.5 or 3 years old. Whenever his mother makes chapatis, he will go and observe. He'll go and sit down, and he'll want some atta. And then he'll take it and he'll keep it somewhere. You'll find it under the sofa, under some place you'll find some atta somewhere. By the time he was 4 years old, whenever the family they would need atta to be made and chapatis to be made, he would come and observe. He would be hanging around there. So mother was to sort. One day he's there, he's 4 years old. He's again and again seeing she's making chapatis. He's also putting his hands into it. Okay, you also take a rolling pin and you also roll chapatis. This fellow, he was so eager, he got on a table, stool, got on it and started making chapatis. Prabhu, within few days, he was making 25 chapatis for the whole family. 4-year-old kid, doing all the chapatis and very eagerly doing it. Okay, so they have a capacity to do things. When you engage them with that, they will do it. But today we have a system by which we don't want to engage them in those things. Okay, so that's what I'm saying is that be engaged with them. Do things with them. Then you understand what their tendencies are. If you're not with them, you'll never understand. You'll only understand sometime when there's a problem, it comes some, some issue is coming, then only you deal with it. No, but this constant thing that you can work with. Okay, so there are a lot of things that the child will actually express, but we are not there to see and understand what he is capable of. So all this is a part of our learning actually. In fact, we think that we need to educate the child. It is just the opposite. They have so many questions. If you start answering their questions, you'll make them learn it. In fact, you will learn first. But what happens is that when they ask us questions, what do? Hey, don't disturb me. Go away. Because you don't answer their questions, they remain uneducated and we also remain uneducated. If you don't know an answer, tell them, I will let you know later on. And one thing that you'll see, if they start doing something, they want to master it. Till that time, they will not stop doing something. But our schools have a different approach altogether. Mathematics classes started and then teacher is teaching and then you're getting the grasp of it. It's beginning to understand, it's, your bulb is glowing. I'm beginning to understand what is this. And ting, 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 the bell will ring and 45 minutes gone. So when you're doing this whole process in the present day schooling system, in which you keep hitting a bell after every 45 minutes, you're telling the kid nothing is important. You have to just keep on doing some routine stuff. You don't have to understand anything. Get yourself involved in it. Understand, get to the core of it, master it. Who's an engineer? Okay, who's an engineer? You ask him his knowledge of biology, will be not more than what a student of class 10 has. Or if you ask a student of biology, his knowledge of physics or chemistry, physics, etc., will be not more than what it is of a student of class 10. They may have specialized in their own areas, but their basic knowledge in that area is only up to that. So there's a lot of irrelevant information being circulated, which has no use. Okay, so therefore, we need to understand that this education system that we are trying to utilize is inadequate. We don't have a proper education system. And in spite of our trying to, thinking that by more and more putting them through more and more of these schools and colleges, we will do them any good. It is not doing anything good to people. We are coming up with more and more underskilled people, or practically very little skills. So what I would like to say is that till we develop a proper system of education, at least the homes should remain the main focus for the children's education. We have to understand the school is not out there. The school is where we live. This is the place where, and this is where they will learn your language. Where do you learn your mother tongue? At home. Okay. Where do you learn basic idioms and phrases? At home. You can take, no problem.
I mean to say that both parents are working in that period. It's very rare time we can spend time with the children. As you're explaining everything, that everything will happen in. I mean, if the parent is not, I mean to say, if single parent is working, then fine. At least the mother should be at home, and if she is there, then kid can learn many things earlier saying. If the both are working in they living in city, and they're spending very hard, with very little time with the kids, then where they can learn. Even many kids, they don't know their own mother language.
Yeah. So the question is? If both parents are working, then who will teach at home? Who will spend time? You see, one of the most important things that I've learned from all these years is that most people come to the cities because they think they'll give their children good education, and because of which both parents need to work. Actually, most of your money goes in schools and education. The maximum, two most expensive things in life to do is educating our children and making a house. In a city again. Okay. Yeah. These are the most expensive things in life. Okay. Medical is the next. Medical is actually thing. Why do you have medical as a very important problem? Because you've never dealt with it. You cannot cure a disease. Prevention is the only cure. And how do you prevent disease? Regulated life, then good nutritious food, and regulated habits and exercise. Okay, exercise, regulated food, regulated life and nutritious food. Which college will teach you these? Home science. No, home, yes. So therefore, that is the whole issue. The skills that you need to live a life with is taught only in the See, why are you two, both of you are working? Why? Because you think, see, what is most important in your life as you grow older? Children at home or big insurance policy? If you don't spend time with your children now, you won't have children with you in later age. Do you want your children in your old age with you? Then what should you do? You have to make your bonds now. You have to make your bridges now.
Providing education and health, and as you said, the home is so expensive. Providing the basic facilities become so expensive.
That is all because you're thinking only in the urban setup. Think differently. Think out of the box. You will get answers.
Then we can come back to the school. After 20 years completing the school, we are not in, we cannot be in one particular specific
See, the point is that please sit down with a cool head, write down your things, and try to understand what is it that you're going for. What is the quality of life you're looking for? If you're clear with that, you will understand what to do with your life. Now you're simply earning money and spending it also. No savings. Right? And in spite of doing all that, what happens is the family gets cut. You have no family, no home, nothing. You may have a house, there's not a home. So if you want to build a home, you have to understand what to do with the home. Home is built with all these factors put together. So therefore, another important point that I'll make here, after the age of 15, when the child has matured, he's hit puberty, he or she has hit puberty, do not try to disciplining is before 15, before they hit puberty. After they hit puberty, don't try to
discipline
with them. Don't try to, okay, don't do this. Anything that you want to do, regulate them, give them regulated habits, has to happen before 15.
Okay.
You try to do before that, after that, prapte sodusha varshani putram mitram eva acharet. Chanakya says, as soon as he reaches 16, you should treat him as your friend. So why you should be treating him? Because he's hit puberty, he's become an adult. An adult does not want to be treated as a kid. It is an insult for him or her when you treat an adult as a kid. After they hit puberty, they are expecting to be a part of an adult society. They're looking for their place in the society. Prior to that, they're looking for their place in the family. They're happy with the family. After they hit puberty, they're looking for their place in the society. At that time, the society should actually be in a position to take them in and give them a place in the society. That previously villages and traditional societies would do. They had a place for these young adults and a place for them. Time for marriages were there. They're given, and that is the age they're looking for responsibilities for their life. If you give them responsibilities at that age, they'll take those responsibilities for the rest of their lives very seriously. So these are factors that are not understood by the modern education system. They're not preparing for you for the natural roles that will come to you as an adult. And they're simply doing this so-called scratching the paper or giving you certain so-called skills, which is actually not skills for life. You may be able to get a job, but you failed in your life. Failed how to make a family, failed how to relate to people. So all this is a part of a larger education that has to come. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
A little question.
Yes.
When our own children growing with us, we can learn the system. But new family member comes into our house. How we can cultivate the spirituality? Example, son-in-law, daughter-in-law comes to our new family member. How to cultivate them into spirituality?
See, the point is that we have a whole modern system, and now it is even legally, what do you call it? Now it's legally wrong to even get married before 21. So actually the age of when children, they will adjust very easily to a new home, a new place, is between the age of 14 and 20. And that is why that is the age of marriage. At that age, a child, a young adult will go and adjust anywhere. See, when you're young, you go and mix friends and adjust anywhere. As you grow older and older, as you get, you have developed your own, your own, what do you call, idiosyncrasies, your own kinds of systems of how you want, what you want. Like, for example, myself, I remember when I first came to ISKCON when I was, I think, 22, 23 or so, I could sleep anywhere. No matter, it doesn't matter who's snoring next to me or whatever who's doing. I would just somehow get a mat and go to sleep. Okay. Today, if someone is doing anything around me, I won't get sleep. Because as you grow older, you have developed certain tendencies to become. And what has happened is that as you're delaying the processes of marriages, those people are becoming more and more, they're no longer learning to adjust with new people, etc. So they've developed certain, characteristics, etc. So it is becoming difficult for us to come together. So this is a modern problem which has to be dealt with. I don't know how. But traditionally, this was why in our Vedic system, marriage was early. So that the new member of the family adjusts very easily with the other people in the family. Because at that age, they're also almost like young adults, children. They're fun, they don't take things so seriously. And therefore, they accept things very easily. But when you do it later on, it becomes very difficult to adjust.
Excuse me, Prabhuji. Okay. nowadays we are doing marriages late. And they want to complete study and getting the employment settlement only. They are doing marriages. It coming up to 30 years and above. Uh, 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 just I'm requesting how to mingle with them with the spirituality. They are already settled with the physical world. Just how can we divert them into spirituality easily? Any tips are there, please?
See, Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Tasmat tvam indriyani adu niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahiyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. He says, therefore, Arjuna, O best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin by regulating the senses and slay the destroyer of self-realization. So, what is the destroyer of self-realization? Sinful activities. So, how that should be done? By learning to regulate life early in life. Prabhupada says, very beginning serves curb the symbol of sin, or that is lust. And then Prabhupada writes later on in the purport of that verse, he says, lust is only the perverted reflection of the love of God, which is natural for every living entity. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, that natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. So love is there. Actually, small children, they don't distinguish so much. I know a small child, he wants to go and love pigs, small babies, pigs. He says, Papa, can I go and do some, what do you call it? No, can I go do some, yeah, cuddling means, yeah. मैं पिताजी मैं जाके उसको थोड़ा टुटू करके आ जाऊं, मतलब कुछ करके आ जाऊं उसको. He feels like doing it. He doesn't distinguish. This is good. He feels everyone is. So when he's young, that love for everyone is very natural for the kid. So Prabhupada says, lust is only the perverted reflection of the love of God, which is natural for every living entity. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, that natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. So when lust develops, it's very difficult to. So the only way that, if you're asking me, how do you want to change things? There's only one way that I know. Make sure that you deal with them very nicely, very lovingly, and give them wonderful prasadam. Organic, homegrown, nice prasadam cooked with ghee. Who will refuse such things? And with that love and care, if you do things, then even at the later, Prabhupada says here actually, nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a late beginner can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. So if you want to change things at a later time, make sure you have great prasadam for all of them. Whenever they come, there has to be great prasadam. And who can refuse good prasadam? Okay. And Prabhupada says, what is the prasadam? What is so special about prasadam? Prabhupada says, just like electricity, you say, that is also metal, this is also metal. What is the difference about it? Then what do you say? Touch it. So similarly, you say, this is food, that is food. Why this food different? Feed it, eat it. Then you'll see the difference it makes. So make wonderful prasadam, because the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So if you want to win the person's heart, make sure you have great prasadam. Not just for you, for everyone in the family. Prasadam should be so great that they should always hanker for home food. Nowadays, we all hanker for restaurant food. But if the food is great at home, that is the beginning of making of a home. Home starts with great food. Our earliest memories of home is food. Yeah. And mind you, I'll tell you one more thing. No matter whatever, wherever, whichever part of the world you go to, and whatever food is available to you, the food that you prefer is the food that your mother fed you at home. If you're used to eating rice, dal, sabji, no matter wherever you go, you may be able to sometimes for a change, maybe, take some, what do you call that? Some stuff from here, there. But then if you are asked to eat, what would you like to eat regularly? What would you eat? Rice and sambar. Isn't it? That's what you've been fed by your mother. That is what you will eat. That is the power of a home. That is the power of the mother. Mother is the one who gives you she's the nutritionist of the family. She's the giver of the food habits for the family. If she takes the kids regularly to restaurants, then they will become restaurateurs only. They'll be eaters in restaurants. But if you make sure that you have great food at home, they'll never prefer to go outside. So if you're asking me a trick, this is one trick that you can do. Have a great place, have great prasadam, great festivals, nice food. Everyone would love to come and take part in it. And gradually that is how you can change things. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Last question. Okay?
Yes.
Whatever you told, we are doing. We are giving love and affection, and we are giving prasadam. Same thing. But don't hesitate, Prabhu. My questions. Harinam Sankirtan, Hare Krishna mantra, or any bhajan is sweet to our heart. But these people will not ready to hear and take that sweetness of the kirtan. Why?
See, the way to a man's heart is this food. Are you cooking your food in ghee? You have wonderful prasadam. If you really do it well, you will affect everyone. That is how Prabhupada preached Krishna consciousness in the whole world. Before giving philosophy, he gave little doses of philosophy, but he gave great food.
How to make them interest to listen the Hari Sankirtan, Harinam Kirtan?
First you give them great food.
Okay.
Great prasadam. Cooked with great love and affection for the Lord. Pure food. Not something that you open a packet, cut a packet and make. You make great prasadam and see how Prabhupada did it. He didn't even buy anything. He was making everything on his own. Gulab jamuns, kachoris, samosas, name it. Those devotees who ate from Prabhupada's hands could not go away. It wasn't organic. In those days, there was hardly non-organic food. It was organic. Because what do you call chemical pesticides, etc., came in much later. 60s it came in. And it was just the beginning period at that time. Prior to that, it was mostly. And Prabhupada never cooked in oil. He said that. He says, all my God brothers, they compromised, they went to mustard oil. I never compromised. I always cooked in ghee. Everything in ghee.
So, Prabhuji, I think we should cook the food prasadam with ghee compulsory.
Yes.
Okay. No. And we are using some items for ghee and some items with oil. So I am asking one. Every prasadam will be prepared by the ghee.
Well, see, that's not what I'm saying. Prabhupada has written one article in Back to God. I think it is June 1956. His article, I think, in his own Back to God magazine, he has written an article on yajna. Please read that article. There he says that food or agni, whenever you sacrifice anything in agni, Lord never accepts anything in oil. Do you do any sacrifices in oil?
No.
So food given to the stomach is also the Lord there. Jataragni. What's that word in the Bhagavad Gita? Aham Vashvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrit. So this is also yajna. Don't think that we are eating. It is actually Vishnu who is eating. And when he is satisfied, we will get strength in the body. So if you want to feed Vishnu, then you have to give only ghee. Prabhupada says oil is not acceptable. Yeah.
But
So, now, please don't tell me economics is bad.
no, not economical, Prabhu. Nowadays, mothers and wives are telling, don't eat ghee. It improve your fat and harmful to your heart. Nowadays, it is ladies empire. Whatever they are do, they tell we have to follow. That's it.
Then suffer. We cannot help you.
But I learned one new thing, Prabhuji. Doing yajna sacrifice with ghee only. Why purpose is satisfying the Vishnu? Just like the Jatragni also, if we give the ghee food, Jatragni and inside Atma also give good result. I know. Thank you,
But
Prabhuji.
if
This
you have medical
no,
condition, please be careful. And this is not something which has to be done systematically from childhood.
no, that 30 years children, no problem.
Yeah. So, but
I
what
have
I'm
six.
saying is that if you're already diseased, you're taking tablets, etc., you're already interfering with the physiology of the body. So then don't do it just like that. You please take proper medical advice and do it.
I am 60 years. I am 60 years old. I am ready to take 3 times with ghee, but she is not allowing. I am taking and digesting, but she is not allowing. We are eating cow ghee only, cow ghee. Even though she is not allowing.
So that is your business. I cannot help you with that.
You are given a good secret, probably good secret. Preparing prasad with ghee will give good result. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so should we end here? Yeah.
Yes, Madhava.
See, Prabhupada says in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and also other places, the Gurukul education is between the age of 5 and 10. Okay. Now, the issue is why 5 and 10? Lalanat bhuvo doshas, tadane bhuvo gunaha, tatha putram sa shishyam sa tadayat natu lalayat. There's a tendency in the home not to regulate the kid. He's going to feel bad. He's so small. How can you trouble him with all these rules and regulations? As a result of which, we do not regulate him. But unfortunately, we do not have proper gurukuls also today. Okay. So my point is that understanding the circumstances, you have to evolve some system. But the proper age, according to Prabhupada, actually a time for regulating, training the child, the most important age, from the age of 5 and 10. What time to sleep, what time to eat, when to take a bath, how to take a bath. Don't pamper them with chocolates and sweets. Teach them what to eat. Give them the food habits for the whole life, dress habits for the whole life. Is that period between 5 and 15. After that, they won't take it. So all the habits, like for example, we were given a habit that every time we go to the toilet, we should take a bath. Okay. Now, no matter whatever I do, any part of the world I go, whichever circumstance, I just don't find myself clean if I don't take a bath, because it's been inculcated into me. So that is called a sanskar. So the time to actually give sanskars is that age between the age of 5 and 15, out of which 5 to 10 is the most important part, in which you start regulating the child. Okay, so that is why we need the Gurukula was for that purpose. And who's a guru? Who loves the child more than you do. He has more love for the child than the parents have. And that is the person who's actually a person who can train your child.
Like we have Gurukula in Madhava, we have same, we have so parents stay in Hyderabad and send the children there, or is it preferable for parents also?
See, let me tell you what we have experienced in Mumbai. We had our, what do you call it? I wouldn't say, look, exactly a Gurukulia, but there was some kind of schooling there. So we would actually train the child to get up early in the morning. Is not supported by the family, it goes waste. Okay. So the idea whether he should be here or there or whatever it is, it has this, the family has to support the whole idea properly. And the people who are there also should be people who really love the child. And then it is a proper education. There has to be that we have to discipline the child, but at the same time, we need to, do it with love. We're not doing it out of, just kind of create a, what you call niyamagraha. Too much rules and regulations just because it is like that. No, it has to be properly understood and presented. So the process of actually raising the child is a very beautiful one, and you'll get only one chance to do it. You won't get another chance to do it. So you have to be very careful to understand how to do it and when to do it. So not every child may even accept it. In fact, I would say it's going to be very rare, people who will actually, children who will actually be able to go out and live there and be happy in that circumstances. So we have to learn how to do it because you see, we are living in an urban life. And to raise a child, most important is space. And that is something you don't have in urban life. There's no space for them children. So this is a big problem that we have. So even though we have a Vedic paradigm with us, but we don't have the environment today. Yeah. You see, boys and girls have different psychologies. They need to be trained differently. Both of them have to be educated. The girls have to be actually educated more closer to the family because that is where their system of learning is. They learn better in that circumstance. When you cut them away from those relations, because by nature they're more emotional. So being more emotional in nature, their emotions have to be nurtured also. Because actually in a family, the mother is the emotional bank of the whole family. Okay, whenever a kid is in trouble, they hardly go to the father. They all go back to their mothers. Okay, so there has to be training. Like for example, let's take the example of modern example of what do you call it? Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. Yeah, Jhansi ke Rani. Okay. Now she was able to lead an army and fight like most of the in the war. And if you know anything about horse riding and sword building, it's not something that you learn overnight. It is not that today I jump on a horse and get a sword and just keep turning it around and I know how to fight. No, it can only come after a lot of training. So they must have been trained. Okay, they must have been trained, but it was done more closer to the home with the family members involved. So they would have actually teachers to come and teach them at home. There we have cases there in like old kings' homes, etc. There were teachers who would come to the home and teach. And then there were other cases also, several cases like that. So they would actually be trained at home. There would be teachers coming home at home. Like we have the case of Arjuna teaching Uttara. He was his teacher at home. Okay, like that, they had different teachers who would come and teach them at home. So that was a whole process that was there. We have different cases of where they were very learned scholars, astrologers, astronomers. Like, for example, let us another example of Usha Naniruddha's case. Her friend Chitralekha was a very talented painter. How did she learn about it? If you didn't know about it, similarly, there were different Maharani Kunti composed such wonderful poems. Where did she learn all that from? And she was so capable that she was able to satisfy Durvasa Muni and get the benedictions from him. So all this was there as a part of a training that was there in the home. And there were teachers coming and different arts, like you see, there are 64 arts that Radharani knew. That is a part of the training which is more closer to the home. And these boys had to be actually trained to live outside the home, because if they're trained too close to the home, they'll never learn how to go out and do things. Because when you grow up, either as a Vaishya, you have to go outside and do some trading, do some work outside. Or you have to, as a Kshatriya, you may have to go out on long campaigns. Or as a Brahmana, you may have to go teaching somewhere here, there, travel different places. So they have to be trained in that manner. So there were different systems of training in things. So therefore, Gurukulas were made, they had a more harsher and a more rigorous regime for them. Whereas the girls had a more, I think, but there were also rules and regulations for the girls also, as much as there were the rules and regulations for the boys. Yes. I don't think there is a problem in doing that. I mean, government is giving enough scope for us to train children at home. For the last 30 or 40 years, there's been an NIOS going on. And there are so many facilities. The government is now, the latest education policy is great. I mean, it allows all kinds of combinations that you want to do. So there is no hard and fast rule. You can join any course at any time, leave it at any time, rejoin it at another time, and still get your credits. So, I mean, I think the government is quite open to all these things. Only thing is, we've not opened out of our boxes. We have stayed stuck with our, box ideas of doing things. The government has got a lot of scope now, and subsequent governments will even make it even more. NIOS is being used by a lot of children, a lot of parents who want their children to be in sports. So that, you don't need to be, actually the course that you have in a school doesn't take more than 2 months to finish, which they take about a year to do. It doesn't take more than 6 months. Tell me the number, if you calculate the number of holidays and the number of classes, the teachers' holidays and everything, how much time do they really teach? The rest of it is getting into school, getting the uniform, packing a lunch, going there, coming out. That takes more time. Actual teaching takes very short time. So actually the whole course does not take more than 2 months to, tell me, I don't know about others. I didn't study more than a month to pass exams. How long did you study? I don't. So just before the, exams, you do a marathon and you finish out. It doesn't take, it's not such a, it's not like Srimad Bhagavatam that you got to understand with a lot of intelligence. It's simple stuff, just a little bit here and there. You need to, if you're just up on top of your things, anyone, any kid can crack those exams. I didn't know it till I, came to ISKCON and I went for my second master degree. When I went for the second master degree, I knew what to do. So they couldn't, the first one I had difficulty, maintaining my, percentages. In the second one, I had no issues. They couldn't put me below first class. They just couldn't put me below because, it's just so simple. You just have to crack your system. There's a system that you do it. You know what to do about it. So it is very simple, actually. The education is, it's dirt simple. I don't know why you need to spend a kid from class 7 onwards, do some this, that. There's no need for doing that. If you create a proper environment, the kid will learn. But the problem is we don't create that proper environment. If you create an environment of learning, sharing knowledge, understanding things, working, getting to the core of activities, kids will learn like this. We've had this in different places that where we have schools or whatever like that, alternative education. But once we train that, when we talk to the kids like that, look, we are doing you like when our kids go to the swimming pool, other kids go to school at 9 o'clock or whatever, 10 o'clock. Our kids go to the swimming pool to learn swimming at 10 o'clock. The swimming pool is empty. The coaches are empty also, free. So our kids go there, and we've done this thing, and we've seen that the kids are not, what do you call it? If you properly deal with them and explain to them what you're doing, they know how to answer people. But if you don't, you try to hide certain things, or this is one lesson that I learned from my mother. Whatever you do it without hesitation. Even if you're wrong, people will think you're right. If you hesitate, then you will think everyone else. You don't hesitate, go ahead. Like, for example, in schools and colleges, they ask you, why do you keep a sikha? I said, why do you keep hair? Give me a logic, why you keep your hair? Yeah, I'm also doing the same. Yeah. So, I mean, there is no logic in keeping hair, no? It's just a norm that is there, that's it. Like, for example, people wear shirts with collars. Ask them, why do you have that extra piece of cloth? Is there any answer to it? No, previously, the Britishers were wearing ties and things like that. For that, they needed something like this. You don't wear a tie. Why do you need that extra piece? I mean, things like that, So if you're not hesitant, it's okay. I mean, you know how to deal with the whole thing. But if you hesitate, then people will always keep on asking you and then keep on nagging you and things like that. Yeah. Wearing Kantimala, things like all kinds of stuff that the people ask.
Online question is there.
Yeah.
Nikkalila Mataji is asking that, is there any solid model in integrating mainstream curriculum and Vedic teachings? Kindly share examples of such setups in East and West country-wise.
It's like asking me how to make a sweet with Kerala. It's two opposite things. Mainstream and, mainstream is not, it's meant for sense gratification. Vedic education is to control the senses. How can I don't know how you can mix it. It's two different systems altogether. You can see Prabhupada writes about this in the first canto, first chapter, verse number 22. In first canto, first chapter, verse number 22, Srila Prabhupada explains why as a sadhu, Srila Prabhupada is calling the modern education system slaughterhouse. A sadhu cannot use any more harsh words. We will use maybe 4-letter words to call something bad. But a sadhu will not call 4-letter words. So Srila Prabhupada is using the harshest word that he's using. It is called a slaughterhouse. Even after that, we cannot understand then what can. Why it is a slaughterhouse? Because it encourages sense gratification. See what is going on in the schools and colleges today. They're not encouraging you to become a good person. They simply want to be. I just got a very nice thing today. There's one old Prabhupada disciple. I don't know if you heard his name, Bhagwan Das. Okay, the very famous old Prabhupada thing. He says, why did they actually get attracted to Srila Prabhupada and his teachings in those days? It's because he said, because at that time when Prabhupada was in the world, I mean, at that time what was going on in the West, he said, was what was known as success in life. He said the definition of success of life was to be manipulative, materialistic. He says to get away from a manipulative, materialistic, ladder climbing definition of success. He says the whole definition of modern day success is to be manipulative, materialistic, means you gather more and more things. If you have a big house, you're successful. You have big money, big cars, you're successful. Okay. And you ladder climbing, you go up the rung. You have more influence, more power, or whatever it is. And that is the definition of success. But that takes you to hell. Gives you stress. You see the number of diseases all these big people have. See the kind of problems that they have socially. That is not the quality of life that we're looking for. The quality of life we're looking for is shilata, character, good health, honesty, truthfulness. So these are the qualities that we're looking for. And I don't know how that and this can come together. I don't know. I hope it answers your question.
आपने कहा था कि स्कूल में एक ही उम्र के बच्चों को एक ही बॉक्स में बैठा जाता है और एज ए पेरेंट हम ये भी सोचते हैं कि अगर कुछ थोड़ा बड़े के साथ हम बच्चे को भिजा देंगे तो अनवांटेड कुछ ज्यादा सीख सकता है, इसलिए थोड़ा उम्र से ज्यादा या कम लोगों के साथ जनरली कम लोगों के बाद भेज सकते हैं, ज्यादा लोगों को भेजते नहीं है एज में.
Why you sending them? Why is the education system, if it is an education system, why is it that they will learn bad things from a school? See, you are putting all kinds of people in the school, whether they are qualified or not qualified, and therefore they're learning bad things. See, prior to this I forget which year, even today, in villages, in a lot of villages in India, even in the area where we are living, there is only one classroom teaching. Classes from 1 to 7 are taught in one classroom by one teacher or two teachers. In fact, it was one teacher till 2-3 years ago. One teacher was teaching from the zero and the first, what do you call it?
Class two.
Not even class, like what do you call it? Basically, he's teaching from there to class 7, he's teaching in one classroom. And the advantage of that is when this, when the first class boy is being taught, everyone else is hearing. When the class 2 is being taught, the next standard is being taught, everyone else is hearing. So what happens today, this is experimental, this is proven fact, that a class 8 child cannot read a class 5 textbook. Probably has forgotten what was written in the class 5. I don't know if you remember. But what happens for these children in one classroom with different teaching going on at the same time, your syllabus is repeated every year, right till the time when you pass out. So you don't forget what is going on in class 5, class 3, class 2, because it's all going on around you. Can you get the point? So that we have seen that from such schools and such classrooms, you get better students coming out. Rather than ones who just go through one and forget about it and go to the next. Whereas here they're teaching, when class 2 boy is being taught, you are sitting around and you're doing yours, no? And this class 2 boy is also hearing higher class activities. So it becomes natural and very easy for them to do that. This was what was going on even in the Gurukuls. Everyone was taught at the same time. The Vyakaran boy is learning his Vyakaran and the Alankar boy is learning his Alankara. But everything is going on at the same time. He's again and again hearing the Vyakarana that is going on. And he's hearing the Alankara. So it is a very natural, seamless way of going from one level to, you don't have to give a class 3 exam and then go to class 4. It is naturally going. Can you get the point?
इसमें जो जूनियर है उनको शायद मतलब जो सीनियर है उनको एडवांस मिलेगी कि उनका रिपीट होता है, जो जूनियर है शायद उनको दिक्कत, मतलब वो ऑलरेडी सीख रहा है जो आगे के क्लास है, तो ये दोबारा आ सकते हैं.
In fact, you will see the children very eager to learn the higher thing. So what happens is actually it becomes very easy for them.
बच्चे कुछ अपना नहीं सीख पाएगा ना वो.
No, it will learn. That is how you see when the higher things are given. No, we've seen in this school is in Gaushe in the village where we have Gokul Dham. The Gaushe school is like that even till today. And the kids that come out of that school, when they go to the high school, which is 5 kilometers away, our students from our school do better. Because they're going through it again and again. Yes. You should.
How do we tackle pressure from both relatives like parents, brothers, who are materialistic and non-religious?
What we did is we opened our own school. We opened our own school and we started taking care of it. So we've done that. We've opened our own school.
जैसे कि हम अगर इस तरह से करते रहे तो वो मतलब उनकी सोच के हिसाब से ये बंदा तो अलग ही वेशभूषा में रहता है, अब बच्चे का भी लाइफ खराब कर रहा है. इस तरह से इम्पैक्ट एक नेगेटिव मतलब उसकी तरफ वो सोचेगा ये नेगेटिव उसको भक्ति में कैसा लाया जाए इतना नेगेटिव.
नहीं आप बहुत कुछ एक ही जगह में मत करो ना. When you try to bite more than what you can chew, you take care of your kid and you want to take care of your kids and your relatives and everyone at the same time. How can you do all that? If your kid is really doing well, he's able, he's capable, he's doing things, he's got he's learning more than other school kids are doing, then obviously they'll be impressed. An example is better than precept. So if your kids are doing much better than them, they're healthy, they're doing exercises, they're learning yoga, they're learning so many things, why they will be at any time being thought that they will be inferior to others? See, the point is that if you have your training well, properly done, why will people think that it's anything bad? So, I mean, what we've done is that we've got our own school going. Simple as that. I mean, so even with 2, it can start. It's a big problem. You can start even with 1, 2, 3, whatever. It needs little organizing and little out of the box thinking.
We are using technology and still we blame the technology. How we can see that?
I don't use technology.
I mean, as of now, one camera is done.
That is because you are doing this like this. Okay, but for the last 20 years, I've been living without electricity.
I think the same question, right?
No, for the last 20 years, I've been living without electricity. Now tell me what.
And how we do, for example, you are in Gaza's now, 50 people are sitting in front of you, and you're speaking, and how the 50 people, the person can hear you.
No, please tell me how this 5,000 years ago, when Sukadev Goswami was speaking, and the whole group so many sadhus were listening to him. Because the environment is quiet, and there are certain places where you sit, like an amphitheater, you can sit, everyone can hear. You come to the place where I stay, you talk there, the next hill you can hear. Because it's quiet. The problem here today is you have all these kind of gadgets and cars and this and that and motors and this and that running, so you cannot hear. So many things. The smartphone is a small thing, but mostly it is the surrounding area that sound is
running sound.
I never knew that because when more than 20 years ago, when I actually went to the village, I was sitting in this hill and the next hill that family was there. What they're talking in their place, I could hear because they were speaking a little loudly and you could hear what they're talking. So then I understood that, and if it is a little depression is there, like an amphitheater, you can very easily.
Whenever Mahatma speak, they want to express something, they'll choose some particular place.
Quiet place. Okay. All right.
Somebody from Krishna's family narrating Lord Krishna's past in Vrindavan with 16,100.
Because it was possible. But at least I've seen in the place where I live, in the forest area, if we talk, actually, you can very easily, you don't need much. And when you are younger people speaking, I think they have a little stronger voice. They can. Okay.
Certain time, but it does not go long. Sometimes pray. So how to continue?
See, we're not telling you to take we're telling you to take food which is tasty. We're not telling you to take bland food. Cook nicely, make it interesting. Why do you want to take food in simple food does not mean you have to take bland food. Make it tasty. What is the problem? But food has to be, if you take too much spicy food, then what will happen to you? If you make that habit with your children, what will happen to them is what is happening to you. Again and again, you have to keep on going to the doctor. You have some GI tract problem. If you want good for them, make sure they get into the habit of eating simple food. Then they won't suffer like we are suffering. What is the number one medicine that is sold in pharmaceutical companies, in pharmacies?
Digestive.
Digestive, mostly acid, antacids. So what is causing it? So you want to make them suffer? Go feed them the same stuff. But if you don't, then you have to bring a change.
My question is, it was not going like we need to at certain time.
That's because you're used to it. But if you want them, you have to do something else. And at the same time, I'm saying, don't make it so bland, make it interesting. But don't make it cause disease. What are the foods that will actually cause trouble for your stomach? Tell me, everyone knows. What is it? So then why you want to do that? Give them that habit. That's because you've given it. Was he born with chips? Who gave him chips?
You only.
Who gave him chips?
You only gave.
So don't blame him. Don't blame him. And the chips has what they call taste enhancers, which makes you want it more and more. And that has sugar also. That is why they are addicted. Just like ants are addicted to sugar, so much addicted that they will die eating sugar. So similarly, that also has sugar in it, which is again an addictive. So if you want them to have that, then give them that habit. Otherwise, change their habit. This is the time to change it. Okay. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो अनन्तकोटि वैष्णवेभ्यो की जय।
His Grace Madhava Prabhu ji ki jai. Thank you for joining all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Madhava Prabhu.
Hare Jai. Madhav Prabhu ki Jai, Srila Prabhu